Hi, my name's Mick Matthews, Senior Programme Officer for the Network of Sex Work Projects, NSWP, the Global Sex Worker Network. Welcome to the second of the NSWP Global Fund Basics video series. This one is on country coordinating mechanisms, most commonly referred to as CCMs. Being a CCM member is not an easy task and comes with a lot of responsibility. For example, a sex worker CCM member represents the whole sex worker community in all their diversity and not their own organisation. And obviously, the things I'm about to tell you are how a perfect CCM member should perform. But of course, that is unrealistic. So these next points should be used as a guide rather than considered as instructions. So, when selecting a potential CCM representative, it's worth considering these general criteria for the selection of a member and alternate member of the CCM representing sex workers. So, number one, the candidate should be a sex worker and someone that has been involved in the HIV response for at least 3 years, because you need that amount of experience if you're going to function on the CCM. Number two, the candidates should commit to allocate time to carry out all duties and responsibilities as a member of the CCM and represent all sex workers. Number three, the candidate should understand the scope of funding related to the Global Fund. Now that one means at least you should begin to develop a broad understanding of just what the Global Fund is funding in your country. Number four, the candidate should have strong communication skills, especially in conducting negotiations and diplomacy in official forums. Now I think it is important to remember the interpersonal and negotiating skills you use in your job as a sex worker and transfer those skills to negotiating on the CCM. Your skills and experience as a sex worker is an advantage, not a disadvantage. And number five, the candidate should have proficiency in English, both oral and written, or at least be learning English or have a translator available to support them. Unfortunately, this will help. It's not essential, but a lot of Global Fund documents are in English only. But lack of English should not prevent you from nominating your preferred candidate. As a CCM member, you will be required to 1. Actively participate in CCM and related meetings raising sex worker interests. 2. To regularly communicate, coordinate and consult with the sex worker communities concerning the implementation of programme activities supported by the Global Fund. Consultations should take place in accordance with CCM Global Fund procedures. Don't worry about that too much. Number 3, to regularly update and inform your constituencies of all CCM Global Fund activities by circulating CCM meeting notes, unless, of course, those notes are deemed confidential. 4, to respond to questions or requests for clarification and information from sex workers in an efficient and prompt manner. And number 5, to actively participate in monitoring funding activities and providing feedback to the CCM. Now, it's very unlikely that all CCM members do all of these things. But points 1 and 2 and 4 are particularly important that you pay attention to. As a sex worker representative, you would have certain obligations. 1. Approve and vote during CCM decision-making forums based on prior consultation with sex workers, ensuring that any decision on behalf of sex workers at the CCM forum is based on community consensus, where possible and realistic. 2. If necessary, refuse to agree on an issue during the CCM decision-making forum, as per the results of consultations with sex workers. Now, this is a tricky one, and it's likely you will come under a lot of pressure to agree certain decisions, such as funding requests, even if you have not seen it or do not agree with it. This is something only you can decide, but you do have the right not to agree on a decision if you have not seen the relevant background documents. Number 3, you need to be able to obtain information regarding program implementation from communities in the field in order to identify any abuses or challenges and bring them to the CCM's attention, and to facilitate and follow up on requests for clarification, case finding, or other information from sex workers pertaining to the implementation of interventions supported by Global Fund grants. Number 4, get support and technical assistance as needed to ensure effective participation. This one is a bit of a wish list, but if there are options available, try and take advantage of them. Number 5, in accordance with the Global Fund guidelines and requirements for CCMs, for CCM's management of conflicts of interest, you're required to publicly declare in writing any potential conflict of interest, both personal and institutional, during your time on the CCM. And number 6, to facilitate the planning of a selection process for a new sex worker representative 3 months before the end of your term on the CCM. And what would you need from sex workers? Well, basically, the information that you would regularly need from your sex worker constituency is 1, situation of HIV/AIDS and services accessible to sex workers. 2, program implementation, progress and issues of the Global Fund grants and what they're funding. And any reported abuse of human rights suffered by sex workers in Global Fund supported services. Now you need this to strengthen your interventions on the CCM. And the community-led monitoring undertaken by the main sex worker-led organisation in your country should be able to ensure that you have this information. So that's it. I hope it's covered all the important points for you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next NSWP Global Fund Basics video. Bye.